Hi, I'm Chris from CBM Motorsports, and we're going to talk today about changing the regulator on one of our billet alternators. We've had a few of those where people have had some different failures or they need to change something, so I wanted to give a little brief video because it's about 5 to 10 minutes to actually change this. So what we're going to do is we're going to remove this cover. We have an 8mm socket, and it's going to remove these 3 screws here. Now that we have the 8mm bolts removed, we can remove this cover from the alternator, and you can see it's we have the alternator, we have our regulator here. There's 4 bolts holding the regulator down, and you have your brushes and you have your regulator. So what we're going to do is remove the 2 Phillip head bolts. Come out very quickly. And we're going to remove the brushes, which is the brush assembly. So this is a brush assembly, 2 screws. We're going to remove that. Then we're going to go to a T20 Torx. This T20 Torx is holding down the regulator assembly. Now that we have the 2 bolts on the regulator removed, you'll notice one is shorter than the other. So you want to keep track of which one you took out of which hole in the regulator. The shortest one's here, the longer one goes here into the body, which gives a solid ground. The next step we have here is we're going to take our soldering gun, and we're going to, there's an attachment here to the diode trio. So we're going to take this piece here, we're going to heat it and remove the regulator. It may take a minute or so to heat the regulator to the point where it will slide off, and it slips right off. We want to take our soldering gun, just clean off the little post. Okay, next step is we get the new regulator. We set it into place. You see it has a little hook on here. Very simply done. You push it into place, wrap it around the post. I typically take a little pair of dikes or something like that, and then give it a little squeeze where it's nice and tight, where you get a nice good fitting. And then you're going to do the same thing. You're just going to resolder it. So we're going to hold this on here. It may take a second or two to get this hot enough. Okay, and here we go. We're soldering the unit. We have it nice and soldered, nice solid bead on both sides. That's nice and clean. With a little bit of air to it. And then all we're going to do now is we're just going to replace the 2 bolts that we have in here. We're going to get these screwed back down into place. Okay. Now that we got the bolts in, you just want to make sure they're just finger snug. They don't have to be overly torqued or overly tight. They're very small bolts. Make sure you leave a little bit of room that this tab on the regulator is clear for your threads. Now we're going to set the brush kit in. So the brushes are sitting here. You'll see the brushes, and they're spring loaded. So they basically have a spring in them. So we're going to set this up onto the armature. We're going to get, pocket screwdriver or something of that nature, and push in very lightly, push in with the brushes so they can sit down into place. Make sure they're seated nicely. And then we're going to do the same thing again. We're just going to replace these 2 little Phillips screws. They're both the same length. They should both go in really nicely together. And there we go. Basically, we're replacing the cover, and we're going to replace our 3 8mm bolts. Regulator replacement's done, and put it on the vehicle and test it. Should be good to go.